Okay, and we're back. So, this video, I'm going to kind of go into my background, tell you my upbringing, and why just this journey I'm on is kind of like a 30 years in the making kind of thing, right? So my name is LaShonda Bryant on Facebook. If you know me personally, you know me by Veronica. Um, but I was raised on the coast of North Carolina by my grandparents. Um, and I remember my whole life, my grandfather was an entrepreneur. He was a commercial fisherman. He owned his own boat. Um, he also had his dealer's license, so he sold seafood as well. He also had a convenience store that I used to work in as a child. So I've always known him to work for himself. Um, I've only known him to maybe work for other people like maybe once or twice my whole life. And it was for a very short period of time. And it was kind of later on in his life was once he was getting older. Um, he recently passed last year, but while he was working, like I said, I only remember him working for someone else twice, and again, it was when he got older. So he always was an entrepreneur. He also used to give me these positive affirmations. And I didn't know that there was affirmations. I don't know if he was kind of aware of him saying this to me or what, but he used to always say to me that I was going to be the first one in the family to graduate college. And hopefully May 2022, that will come to fruition. So it was a lot of affirmations and positivity that I was surrounded by from childhood. Um, Another thing that stood out with me with being raised by my grandparents, my grandfather, was generational wealth. Of course, by the time I came along, they was middle aged, 40, 50. So they've had accumulated a lot of wealth over the years. Um, and not like wealth, like we wasn't rich or nothing, but um, just knowing where he came from as like a farmer to owning your own boats, to having nice vehicles, to having a nice house. um, you know, he kind of um, built himself up. So by the time I came along, they had acquired a lot of things. They had land, they had houses, again, they had businesses, of course. And one of the great things or the cool things that he did, like I said, he died last year. But one of the great and cool things that he did was when I turned 16, he actually signed over the land and house that he was staying in. He signed it over to me. So that's generational wealth. And I thought that, that was everybody get that until I got older, right? Me being young and stupid, naive, whatever. Um, but I see now that's not a something that everybody gets an opportunity for. So I'm really grateful for that. So with that is kind of the reason why entrepreneurship is very important to me, or that I really want to become an entrepreneur, or that the entrepreneur spirit is in me because I've seen him his whole life being an entrepreneur, right? So that entrepreneur spirit I kind of got from him. Um, so yeah. So that's just a little bit about my background and where my interest in entrepreneurship came in. Also kind of a background on generational wealth from my perspective. Um, so after graduating high school, everything else like that, um, I went and got my CNA license when I was like, I think I was like 22, 23. My daughter was just born, and she's 10 now. So I went back to school and got my CNA license. And I worked as a CNA for 8 years. Once I had my son, I kind of, what you would say, quote unquote, retired from being a CNA. I just kind of did not want to do it no more. I had kind of been burned out for a long time. And I kind of used my son, or me having my son, is that reason why I didn't want to go back. Just because I just wanted to be home. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to bond with my son, right? And so that was my way of not having to go back. I did eventually go back, but it was kind of part-time. I was not working nowhere near as many hours as I was before I had my son. Um, but being a CNA, it took a lot of my time. I worked sometimes 60 hours a week, 46 to 60 hours a week, just depending. I would do doubles, 3 doubles a week. So I was really tired. I didn't have time to do nothing, really. I didn't have time to go back to school or nothing like that, right? So after I had my son, he's 2 now, I was like, okay, well, I'm going back to school and I'm just going to work part-time. And so that's what happened. I went back to school and I was working part-time as a CNA. I worked maybe 1 or 2 days a week. And then COVID happened. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to go sit down. I did not want to, I just didn't want to be exposed to it. And that's a whole nother story, but I just didn't want to deal with it. Like I said, my son was really small. He wasn't even a year old yet. And I was just like, I'm not doing this. So that's what I did. I retired from being a CNA. And after that, that's when I really started like looking into being my own boss, right? It kind of actually started when I was pregnant with him. I was high risk. I was high risk for my pregnancies, so I couldn't work, but I needed money to support my son, to support me, to support us, right? I have a daughter as well. And so I started like working and just, being my own boss. I was selling clothes and shoes and stuff. If anybody of your I know I used to sell shoes and stuff, and so that was what I was doing just to kind of support me and myself, my son, my daughter, the household. And that actually is where creating stuff started as well. Because again, I didn't have no money. I was trying to sell and trying to, to make money, right? So I didn't have money for a lot of things. Hair stuff was one of them. I didn't have stuff. It was a lot of things I just learned how to start creating and making. One of the first things I started was my oils, my money oils, my protection oils, and my love oils or self-love oils, right? And the reason why I started making those was because it was just so expensive. And I was like, I cannot pay this much money. So I started studying different herbs, different oils, and I just started playing around with it. And so that's kind of how Heavenly Creations kind of got started. It's been a process with that as well. I think I'm gonna do another video to kind of go into that process. But so yeah, um, that was I just needed a break from being a CNA, and I just started selling stuff, and I did that for the first year and a half that my son was born. I'd worked, a couple of other jobs as a waitress and stuff. But then once I started school, which was in January of 2020, I just kind of devoted myself to school. Again, like I said, COVID happened, and it just kind of it happened. That's all you can really say about 2020. It happened. But then September of 2020, I started working from home, and I just want to explain to anybody, me working from home was like the dream, the thing that I wish I always wanted. Like, I always wanted to work from home. I always was looking for work from home jobs and everything else like that, and I just never could find anything, or I just never got accepted. So this time I got the job, and I was super excited, right? And it was okay. It has its moments. I was on the phone for 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. That's why my voice is still, it's just a permanent thing. Like, my voice will probably never be the same. So I'm on the phone 40 hours a week talking to people. These customers are rude. I've just, it was different than I ever expected. And I kind of started getting bored, especially towards the end. I worked there from September of 2020 to my last day was I want to say June 4th, I think, of this year, 2021. So I worked there for about 8-9 months, and it was good. It was good money. It was good benefits. It was just, I was so bored. Like I said, I go to school, so it was kind of interfering. I worked 40 hours a week. It was interfering with my school, right? I also was homeschooling my daughter, and that interfered with it. Like, it was like, I call it the work, school, family chaos. Um, it was just, you get in where you fit in. Like, I don't know how I made it. Like, I think I got gray hairs from it. But literally, I worked 40 hours a week. I went to school, and I'm doing full time, and I'm homeschooling. And it was crazy. Um, it was really, really inflexible. You have someone telling you have to be there from 9 to 5:30. You can't be like, I'm gonna be here in at 11 or 12. Like, I see you when I see you. They wasn't having none of that. Like, you get real enough for that, right? Um, I also hate being still for a long period of time. I get very bored very quickly. I've been recording for like almost 15 minutes now, and I'm just like, I got so many other things to do. I have to be on the go. So for me to sit down for 8 hours is terrible for me, for my psyche, for my everything. I also did not like the breaks. I actually almost had to get very rude with a supervisor because they wanted us to use the bathroom on our 15 minute breaks and our one 30-minute lunch break, which was an hour of out of eight, out of eight, well, 8.5, because it was from 9 to 5:30. So they just wanted us to use the bathroom on our two 15-minute breaks and our one 30-minute break. And that's impossible. I drink too much water. It just did not go right with me, right? So I quit, and I gave my 2-week notice in the end of May, and my last day was the 1st of June, like June 4th or something like that. The crazy thing about me quitting was I was actually up for a promotion. And I had actually got overlooked for the promotion twice. The first time I just didn't get the promotion, and the second time I didn't get the promotion, but I was next in line to get the promotion. So it was kind of funny when I quit, because like literally when I quit, and my supervisor was like, "Are you sure you want to reconsider this?" I was like, "No, I'm my mind is made up." Literally like 3 days later, no, not even 3 days. It was maybe like a day or two later, they announced like the other girl got my position. So it's like, but it was really no hard whatever for me. I was okay with that. Did I do something? I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. What the world? Okay, I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry. Um, touching stuff I don't got no business touching. So yeah, I didn't like working from that, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going back and doing my own business. Um, I had actually started my business over a year ago, back in 2020. I think it was like March or April of 2020 that I started my business, and I've just haven't. Well, I hadn't had the money, of course, because like I said, I wasn't working. I was out of work for a year and a half, single mom. So I had money, but all my money went to diapers, formula, shit for the kids, right? So I didn't have the extra money. Um, so my business is a long work in progress. I will probably make another video on just that debacle, because it's a lot to go through, with my process and my journey of getting my business to where it's at. So I'm definitely going to do another video about that. But so I quit my job in June. And in between that, I still needed money, right? So I did start working from home, but I was working for myself. Like I had my own call center. It was working through a company. I cannot say the name of the company, but some of you may have know it, or y'all may know companies like that where you have your own call center. And I thought it was just maybe, me not being able to make my own schedule, or me not being able to have that work, family, school balance. But you would think like, okay, you're your own boss and you can make your own schedule and this, that, and the third, that I would be more happy, right? But I wasn't. I was still freaking bored and depressed. And so I did that for so I literally quit my job on a Friday and I was working Monday. So June, for about 2 months, and I was just like, I can't do this. I'm bored. I'm not happy. Like, this is the reason why I quit my first job, right? My W-2 job, to become my own boss and have my own call center, but I'm still bored. I don't want to sit behind this desk, right? So that's how I ended up here. I was just like, I am done. Um, it was kind of like a combination of a spiritual awakening and just me being over it and bored. I did like it was kind of like an aha moment. I took a road trip about a month ago to New Orleans, and I was just like, what is it that make you happy? Like, because you're not happy and you thought that you was gonna be happy in this new position where you was working for quote unquote yourself, but you still not happy. So what will it take for you to be happy? And that was the conversation that I had in the car with myself. And I was like, okay. And so literally the whole time in New Orleans, I was like figuring out what makes me happy, what I want to do, and how the hell I can escape from this matrix. And that's what I'm doing. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. So that is video 2. I will be doing another video. And I will see y'all later. Bye.